Hi everybody, anybody that watches this. So here's Kitty. I don't know if you can tell on video, but he's having a very bad day. A very, very bad day indeed. And he might not make it. I know I'm always saying that, but last night they tried to gas me and I wouldn't go down. So they just kept filling it up and filling it up. And when those days happen, Kitty usually almost dies because it's just too much for him. And then the heater stopped working, and I've been struggling to keep him warm. I actually had to pull over on the side of the road. Once I left at about 4 from the campground. I had to pull over, and I was falling asleep, and he was like a little popsicle. He hates this sweater, but it does help. He's just jerking and jerking and jerking. But yeah, I had to make him stay under the covers with me. Keep him warm. He doesn't like that. But he stayed. He didn't fight it. I think he's too weak to fight today. Too weak. He wants to eat. He's hungry, but then he doesn't want to eat anything I give him. We're here trying to get our RV repaired in a town like an hour and a half from where we were. It's the only other one I knew. And I didn't want to call anywhere because then, you know. So I had some repair work done, and now my car is making kind of weird noises. And we've been sitting here in this parking lot for about 4 hours. Can't turn on the heater because the heater doesn't work for the animals. The dogs will be okay, but this one here is just a rough go. He's just so skinny, you know. He really is. He's just very, very skinny. And he's very tiny. Really. But I guess I'm going to regret I didn't give them away and think about how many times they were poisoned and I didn't stop to make it better. I don't know. I wouldn't know what would happen, and it's just so hard. Like, I know a lot of people, when their cats or dogs get old, they take them to the shelter because they don't want to deal with it. But for me, it's the complete opposite. I feel like it's my responsibility. It's my obligation. And I really want to do what is best for them. But then, am I doing that? I don't know. He's just having trouble even put his feet under him. He doesn't know where to go. He's confused. That stuff makes your brain all oatmeal. I mean, if I get confused, imagine what this little brain feels, you know? I get confused from the drugs. What's he feel? So I actually had the door open briefly, and he just popped right out into the parking lot. Normally he'd be afraid of cars and noises like that, but I don't know. He was looking for something. I think he wanted water, but he didn't want the water out of his water bowl. He is sharing a water bowl with the dog. That's a different experience. But there's not much room in this RV, and I guess I don't think that much anymore. I just survive. So I don't know, do I give my 20-year-old cat to a rescue that may or may not be able to keep him safe from these people, who may or may not deal with the reality of what he's been through? And will they have a home for him to go to? Will there be other animals? Will he just die from the change? Will he wonder where I am? Will he think I just didn't want him anymore? That I just left him somewhere? And that I didn't want him or love him anymore? Because despite the fact that I always thought he was such an independent cat, and that he didn't really want to be cuddly and everything, when my other cat passed away, who was very dominant cuddly, like, he was just all about me, really the closest animal I've ever had to me. Was like a baby. But when he passed away, I saw a side to Kitty that was so different. He seemed to sort of be happy that it was just me and him. Like, instead of sleeping down by my feet, he sort of inched his way up towards my head and my side, and we would go on walks together, and he just seemed to really enjoy being the only cat. This is my alarm. I have a very big feeling that we're going to be told pretty briefly now that they're not going to help us. That we'll be here till, we could be here till 5. And then they'll say, hey, you know what, we just didn't have time today. But it's not screwing me over like they think they will, because I ain't got nowhere else to go. And what this means is that I have to go to a hotel room, and I guess the only thing on that is that since I gotta pay the money, that I might as well get the animals out of this and into the room and wait for the horror to begin. I've thought about renting 2 rooms. I could put the animals in one, but they'll just go in there because they can't handle anything like that. Me loving my animals. So, what do you think? Should I give my cat away? I do have a place that will take them, but they'll know who I'm giving him to. And I don't know, he could just die because he's confused and doesn't know where he is. And at this point, when you're 20 and you're a cat, a lot of it is, maybe people won't believe me, but I think it's the connections, like with my other cat who lived to 19, and I put him to sleep before I got on a plane, like hours before I fled Hawaii, because I just didn't want him to die on the plane. And he was 6 pounds, and there wasn't anything wrong with him, but he just, I just didn't want to, after all those years together. I just knew I'd freak out. And I also, to be honest, I think that I felt like I wouldn't be able to take the stress of his death alone, and I was going to be alone. It's probably one of my biggest regrets of life, more so than pissing these people off. Isn't that amazing? Because the reality is I didn't do shit, so there's nothing to regret. Really. I didn't do shit. Didn't take money from them, didn't date one of them, didn't fuck one of them, didn't fuck any of them over, didn't steal from them, didn't do shit. The whole thing's a fucking... you know? All I'm being told is, from the motorcycle guys is they're never gonna stop. I already know that. No one has to tell me that. You know? I already know that. But usually this kind of stuff is reserved for people like ex-wives that they're scared of saying something, or they're pissed that their exes, or people that stole their money, stole their drugs. I'm none of those things. But yeah, here I am. And all my animals are suffering greatly. And they're really closing the doors on it. You know? They pretty much just want me to lay up in a hotel room where they can rent rooms on my dime and stay in hotel rooms and do drugs and come into my room and rape and sodomize and torture my body and torture my animals, and that be their life until I die. That's what they want. Sad life for them and for me, but to be honest, even sadder for them because they actually have a choice. I think it's fucking pathetic. Yeah, I'm gonna fight till the end. You know why? Because it doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter. I can sit here and kiss their asses and apologize to no end for nothing. But I can fake the funk and do all that shit. Wouldn't matter. Doesn't matter to people like this. They just want to do what they want to do. The reality is, and why people should really be concerned, is this really doesn't have shit to do with me. It has everything to do with who they are and what they want to do with their lives, which is to hurt, harm, steal, rob, just in general live a life of depravity. Okay. So, sorry, I ate a day-old Subway tuna sandwich, which was super disgusting. Shared it with all the animals. Couldn't even barely eat it. It was just a pile of mush. I got 2 sandwiches yesterday because I was so hungry, because the night before I was so hungry and I didn't have any food. But the gas doesn't give you much of an appetite, so I bought 2 sandwiches, but I could only eat 1. And a bag of chips. And 3 cookies.